Your life is shaped by what you do every day. Not once, not sometimes, but every single day. These repeated actions are called habits. And whether you realize it or not, your habits are building your future. Many people want to change their life. They set big goals. They feel motivated for a few days. And then slowly, they return to old patterns. Not because they are weak, but because their habits are stronger than their motivation. This audiobook will help you understand something simple but powerful. If you change your habits, you change your life. You do not need to change everything at once. You only need to change what you do daily. In this audiobook, you will learn how habits are formed, how they control your actions, and how you can take control of them. You will learn how to build good habits, how to break bad ones, and how to stay consistent without depending on motivation. This is not about doing more, it is about doing better. Small actions, repeated daily, that create big results over time. So stay with this audiobook, listen carefully, and start building a life you truly want. Chapter 1. Your life is the result of your habits. Every day you do many things. Some of them you think about, but most of them happen automatically. You wake up, you check your phone, you eat, you work, you rest. These actions may seem small, but they are not random. They are habits. And these habits are shaping your life. Now, let's understand something important. Your life is not only based on big decisions. It is based on small daily actions. What you do once does not define you. What you do repeatedly defines you. Now let's go deeper. If you exercise one day, nothing changes. If you eat healthy one day, nothing changes. If you study one day, nothing changes. But if you repeat these actions every day, everything changes. This is the power of habits. Now let's understand why habits are so powerful. Your brain likes efficiency. It does not want to think about every action. So it turns repeated behaviors into automatic patterns. This saves energy, but it also creates strong habits. Now imagine this. You wake up and check your phone immediately. You do it every day. After some time, you do not even think about it. It becomes automatic. That is a habit. Now think about both sides. Good habits can improve your life. Bad habits can slowly damage your life. But both work in the same way, through repetition. Now let's understand something important. You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. Because goals are temporary. Habits are daily. Now let's go deeper. Many people focus only on goals. They want success, they want change, but they do not change their habits, so their results stay the same. Now imagine this. Two people have the same goal. One builds strong daily habits, the other does not. After some time, their results will be very different. Not because of talent, but because of habits. Now let's understand something powerful. Small habits create big results. Not in one day, not in 1 week, but over time. Now think about saving money. If you save a small amount daily, it grows. If you waste a small amount daily, it also grows. This is how habits work. Now let's go deeper. Your identity is also shaped by habits. If you read every day, you become a reader. If you exercise regularly, you become a healthy person. If you practice discipline, you become disciplined. Your actions create your identity. Now let's understand something important. You do not need to change your whole life at once. That is too difficult. Instead, you change small habits, and those habits change your life. Now imagine your future. You wake up with purpose. You follow good routines. You take action without delay. This is not luck. This is habit. Now here is the key idea. If you want a better life, do not focus only on big goals. Focus on small, daily habits. Because your habits are building your future right now, every day. Chapter 2. How habits are formed. Before you can change your habits, you must understand how they are created. Because habits do not appear suddenly. They are built step by step, through repetition, through experience, through your daily actions. Now let's understand something important. Every habit follows a simple pattern. It starts with a trigger, then comes an action, and finally, a result. This pattern repeats again and again, until it becomes automatic. Now let's go deeper. A trigger is something that starts the habit. It can be a time, a place, an emotion, or a situation. For example, you feel bored. That feeling becomes a trigger. Now comes the action. You pick up your phone. You scroll. You watch something. That is the behavior. Now comes the result. You feel entertained. You feel less bored. This creates a reward. Now your brain connects these steps. Bored feeling, phone use, relief. And it remembers this pattern. So next time you feel bored, your brain tells you to repeat the same action. This is how habits are formed. Now let's understand something important. Your brain is always looking for reward. It wants comfort. It wants pleasure. So it builds habits that give quick results, even if those habits are not good for you. Now, let's go deeper. Good habits and bad habits follow the same system. The only difference is the result over time. Bad habits give quick satisfaction, but negative results later. Good habits feel difficult at first, but give strong results later. Now imagine this. Watching videos all day feels easy, but it wastes your time. Reading or learning feels harder, but it improves your life. This is the difference. Now let's understand something powerful. Once a habit is formed, it becomes automatic. You do not think, you just act. That is why habits are difficult to change, because they are deeply stored in your brain. Now let's go deeper. Repetition strengthens habits. The more you repeat an action, the stronger it becomes, and the harder it is to stop. Now let's talk about awareness. Many people follow habits without noticing them. They act automatically. They do not think about why they are doing something. But awareness is the first step to change. You must notice your habits. You must understand your triggers. Now imagine this. You notice that every time you feel stressed, you check your phone. Now you are aware, and awareness gives you control. Now let's understand something important. You cannot change a habit if you do not understand it. So before changing anything, you observe. You pay attention. You learn your patterns. Now let's go deeper. Once you understand the habit loop, you can change it. You can keep the same trigger, but change the action. For example, instead of checking your phone when bored, you read something small. Now the pattern starts to shift. Now let's connect everything. Habits are not random. They follow a system. Trigger, action, reward. And this system repeats until it becomes automatic. Now here is the key idea. If you understand how habits are formed, you can control them. You can break bad habits, and you can build good ones. Now imagine your future. You are aware of your actions. You understand your patterns, and you choose your habits consciously. This is where real change begins, and it starts with understanding. How habits are formed. Chapter 3. Why bad habits are so hard to break. Many people want to stop their bad habits. They promise themselves they will change. They try for a few days, but then they go back to the same behaviour. This can feel frustrating. You may think something is wrong with you. But the truth is simple. Bad habits are hard to break because your brain is designed to keep them. Now let's understand something important. Your brain is always trying to save energy. It prefers automatic behaviour because thinking requires effort. So once a habit is formed, your brain wants to keep it, even if the habit is not good for you. Now let's go deeper. Bad habits usually give quick rewards. They feel easy. They feel comfortable. They give immediate satisfaction. For example, scrolling on your phone, eating unhealthy food, avoiding difficult work. These actions feel good in the moment, and your brain remembers that feeling. Now here is the problem. Your brain focuses more on short-term reward than long-term result. So even if the habit harms you later, your brain still wants it now. Now let's understand something powerful. Every time you repeat a bad habit, you make it stronger. You are training your brain to continue it. You are building a pattern, and that pattern becomes automatic. Now let's go deeper. Bad habits are also connected to emotions. When you feel stressed, bored, or tired, your brain looks for comfort, and it goes back to familiar habits. That is why change feels difficult, because you are not only changing behaviour, you are also changing emotional response. Now let's talk about resistance. When you try to stop a bad habit, your brain resists. It wants to return to what is familiar. You may feel discomfort. You may feel strong urges. This is normal, because your brain is adjusting. Now let's understand something important. The difficulty you feel is not failure. It is part of the process. It means your brain is changing. Now let's go deeper. Many people try to break bad habits with strong willpower. But willpower is limited. It works for a short time, but habits are long-term. So willpower alone is not enough. You need a system. Now imagine this. Instead of fighting your habit, you understand it. You notice the trigger. You change the action. You create a new pattern. This is a smarter approach. Now let's understand something powerful. You do not remove a habit completely. You replace it. Because your brain always looks for action. So if you remove one behavior, you must add another. Now let's connect everything. Bad habits are strong because they are automatic. They give quick reward. They are connected to emotions, and they are repeated daily. That is why they are hard to break, but not impossible. Now here is the key idea. You do not break bad habits by force. You break them by understanding, replacing, and repeating better actions. Now imagine your future. You are no longer controlled by your habits. You understand your patterns. You choose better actions. And you feel in control of your life. This is possible. And it starts with understanding. Why bad habits are so hard to break. Chapter 4. How to break bad habits step by step. Breaking a bad habit does not happen in one moment. It is a process, a step-by-step change. Many people try to stop a habit suddenly. They use strong willpower. They try to force themselves. But after some time, they fail, because they do not follow a system. Now let's understand something important. You do not break a habit by fighting it. You break it by understanding and replacing it. Now let's go deeper. Every habit follows a pattern. Trigger, action, reward. So if you want to change a habit, you must work with this pattern, not against it. Now let's start with the first step, awareness. You must notice your habit. When does it happen? Why does it happen? What triggers it? Without awareness, change is not possible. Now imagine this. Every time you feel bored, you check your phone. Now you see the pattern. Boredom is the trigger. Phone use is the action. Entertainment is the reward. Now you understand your habit. Now let's go to the second step. Remove or reduce the trigger. If possible, change your environment. For example, keep your phone away. Make the bad habit less easy to access. This reduces automatic behavior. Now the third step. Replace the habit. You cannot leave an empty space. Your brain needs action. So instead of checking your phone, you choose a better action. Something simple, something easy. For example, you read something short, or you take a short walk. Now the pattern changes. Same trigger, different action, better result. Now let's go deeper. The new habit must be easy. If it is too difficult, you will not continue. So start small, very small, because small actions are easier to repeat. Now the fourth step. Repeat the new habit, again and again. This is where real change happens, because repetition builds strength. Now let's understand something important. At the beginning, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will want the old habit. You will feel resistance. But this is normal, because your brain is adjusting to a new pattern. Now let's go deeper. You must stay patient. Do not expect instant change. Habits take time to form, and they take time to change. Now let's talk about consistency. Even if you fail one day, continue the next day. Do not stop completely, because progress comes from repetition, not perfection. Now imagine this. Each day you choose the new action. Each day you weaken the old habit. Slowly, the new habit becomes stronger, and the old one becomes weaker. Now let's connect everything. Breaking a bad habit is not about stopping. It is about replacing and repeating. Now here is the key idea. You change habits step by step, with awareness, with simple actions, and with daily repetition. Now imagine your future. You are free from habits that hold you back. You take control of your actions, and your life starts to change. This is possible when you follow the right process and stay consistent. Chapter 5. How to build good habits that last. Breaking bad habits is important, but building good habits is even more powerful. Because good habits move your life forward. They help you grow. They help you improve every day. Now let's understand something important. Good habits do not start as strong habits. They start as small actions. Simple steps, repeated daily. Now let's go deeper. Many people try to build big habits quickly. They set high goals. They try to do too much at once. But after a few days, they stop, because it feels difficult. This is a common mistake. Now, here is the better way. Start small, very small. So small that it feels easy, because easy actions are easier to repeat. Now imagine this. Instead of studying for 2 hours, you start with 10 minutes. Instead of exercising for 1 hour, you start with 5 minutes. This may feel small, but small actions build consistency, and consistency builds habits. Now let's understand something powerful. A habit is not built in one day. It is built through repetition. The more you repeat, the stronger it becomes. Now let's go deeper. You should connect your new habit to something you already do. This makes it easier to remember. For example, after waking up, you read a few pages. After eating, you practice something small. This creates a natural flow. Now let's talk about environment. Your environment can support your habits, or it can stop them. If you make good habits easy, you will follow them more often. Now imagine this. You keep a book near your bed. You will read more. You keep healthy food in your kitchen. You will eat better. Small changes in environment create big results. Now let's understand something important. You do not need to feel motivated. You need to act. Because action creates motivation, not the other way around. Now let's go deeper. At the beginning, your new habit may feel weak. You may forget. You may skip some days. That is normal. But the key is to continue. Do not stop, even if progress feels slow. Now let's talk about identity. When you repeat a good habit, you start seeing yourself differently. If you read daily, you become a reader. If you practice daily, you become a learner. Your actions shape your identity. Now let's understand something powerful. When your identity changes, your behavior becomes natural. You do not force yourself. You act based on who you are. Now imagine this. Every day you take small actions. You repeat them. You stay consistent. Over time, these actions become automatic. They become part of your life. Now let's connect everything. Good habits are built through small steps, simple actions, and daily repetition. Now here is the key idea. Do not try to change everything at once. Start small, stay consistent, and let your habits grow. Now imagine your future. You follow positive routines. You take action without delay. And your life improves step by step. This is the power of good habits. And it starts with small actions, done every day. Chapter 6. The Power of Small Habits. Many people believe that big results require big actions. They think they need to do something massive to change their life. But this is not true. Real change comes from small habits, simple actions, repeated every day. Now let's understand something important. Small habits may feel unimportant in the moment. They may seem too easy, too small to matter. But over time, they create powerful results. Now let's go deeper. Imagine you improve just a little every day. That small improvement may not be visible immediately, but after weeks and months, the difference becomes clear. Now think about the opposite. Small negative habits. They also seem harmless, but repeated daily, they create problems over time. This is how habits work. They grow slowly, but their impact becomes big. Now let's understand something powerful. Consistency beats intensity. Doing something small every day is more powerful than doing something big once, because repetition builds strength. Now imagine this. You read just a few pages daily. Over time, you finish many books. You exercise for a few minutes daily. Over time, your body becomes stronger. You practice a skill daily. Over time, you become better. This is the power of small habits. Now let's go deeper. Small habits are easy to start. They do not require much effort. They do not create resistance. And that is why they work. Because you can repeat them again and again. Now let's understand something important. Big habits often fail because they feel difficult. They require too much energy, and your brain resists them. But small habits feel simple, so your brain accepts them. Now let's talk about growth. Growth does not happen suddenly. It happens gradually, through small improvements, day by day. Now imagine this. Each day you take one small positive action. It may not feel important, but over time it changes your direction. Now let's go deeper. Small habits also build confidence, because you complete them easily. And when you complete something, your brain feels success. This motivates you to continue. Now let's understand something powerful. Success is not built on big moments. It is built on small daily actions, repeated consistently. Now let's connect everything. Small habits may seem small, but they are the foundation of big change. Now here is the key idea. If you want to change your life, do not look for big actions. Focus on small habits and repeat them daily. Now imagine your future. You improve step by step. You grow without pressure. and your life becomes better over time. This is not magic. This is the power of small habits. And it starts with one small step, taken today. Chapter 7. Design your environment for success. Many people think success depends only on willpower. They believe they must stay strong and disciplined all the time. But this is not the full truth, because your environment has a powerful effect on your behaviour. In fact, your environment often controls your habits more than your motivation. Now let's understand something important. Your environment is everything around you. Your room, your phone, your workspace, the things you see every day. These small details influence your actions. Now let's go deeper. If your environment makes bad habits easy, you will follow them. If your environment makes good habits easy, you will follow those instead. So the goal is simple. Make good habits easy. Make bad habits difficult. Now imagine this. If your phone is always in your hand, you will use it more. If your book is always near you, you will read more. This is not about discipline. It is about design. Now let's understand something powerful. You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your environment, because your environment shapes your daily actions. Now let's go deeper. Instead of fighting your habits, you change your surroundings. You remove distractions. You create space for focus. You make the right choice easier. Now let's talk about practical changes. If you want to study more, keep your study materials ready. If you want to eat healthy, keep healthy food visible. If you want to reduce phone use, keep it away when you work. These small changes reduce resistance. Now let's understand something important. Your brain always chooses the easiest option. So if the good habit is easy, you will follow it. If the bad habit is easy, you will follow that instead. Now let's go deeper. Environment design is not about big changes. It is about small adjustments. Simple changes that guide your behaviour. Now imagine this. You sit in a clean, organised space. Your mind feels calm. You focus better. Now imagine the opposite. A messy space, many distractions. Your mind becomes scattered. Your focus breaks. This shows how environment affects your mind. Now let's connect this to habits. Your environment can either support your goals or work against them. So you must design it carefully. Now let's understand something powerful. You do not need more discipline. You need a better environment. Because the right environment makes discipline easier. Now imagine your future. Your surroundings support your growth. Your habits become easier to follow, and your progress becomes faster. Now here is the key idea. If you want to change your habits, change your environment. Because your environment shapes your actions, and your actions shape your life. Chapter 8. Stay consistent, even when you don't feel like it. There will be days when you feel motivated, you feel ready to work, you feel focused and strong. But there will also be days when you feel tired, you feel lazy, you feel like doing nothing. This is normal. Everyone experiences this. Now let's understand something important. Your progress should not depend on how you feel. because feelings change. Some days are good, some days are not. If you only act when you feel motivated, your habits will never become strong. Now let's go deeper. Consistency means showing up even when you do not feel like it. It means taking action even when your mind says no. Not because you enjoy it every time, but because you understand its importance. Now let's understand something powerful. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about continuing, even in small steps. Now imagine this. You plan to study for 1 hour, but you feel tired. Instead of skipping completely, you study for 10 minutes. This small action keeps your habit alive, and that is what matters. Now let's go deeper. When you act despite resistance, you train your mind. You show yourself that action is stronger than feeling. And over time, this builds mental strength. Now let's understand something important. The hardest part is starting. Once you begin, it becomes easier to continue. So your goal is simple. Start, even if it is small. Now let's talk about identity. When you stay consistent, you start seeing yourself as someone who does not quit, someone who shows up. And this identity becomes powerful. Now let's go deeper. If you skip too often, your habit becomes weak. But if you continue, even in small ways, your habit becomes strong. Now let's understand something powerful. You do not need perfect days. You need consistent days. Because perfection is rare, but consistency is possible. Now imagine this. Every day you take some action, even small, even simple. Over time, this builds strong habits, and strong habits create big results. Now let's connect everything. Motivation starts your journey, but consistency keeps it alive, and discipline makes it strong. Now here is the key idea. Do not wait to feel ready. Act anyway, because action creates progress. Now imagine your future. You do what you need to do, no matter how you feel. You stay consistent, you keep improving, and your life changes step by step. This is the power of consistency, and it is built one day at a time. Chapter 9. How to build habits that stick forever. Some habits start strong, but disappear after a few days. You feel motivated in the beginning. You try hard, but slowly you lose interest, and you go back to your old routine. Now let's understand something important. The problem is not you. The problem is the system you are using. Because habits that are too difficult do not last. Now let's go deeper. If you want a habit to last, it must feel simple. It must feel natural. It must not require too much effort at the beginning. Now imagine this. If you try to study for 3 hours on day 1, it feels heavy. But if you start with 10 minutes, it feels easy. And easy habits are more likely to continue. Now let's understand something powerful. The secret to long-term habits is starting small and staying consistent, not starting big and stopping quickly. Now let's go deeper. Your brain avoids discomfort. If a habit feels too hard, your brain will resist it. But if it feels easy, your brain will accept it. So the key is to reduce resistance. Now let's talk about how to do that. The first step is to make the habit very small, so small that it feels impossible to fail. This removes pressure. Now the second step is to do it every day, even if it is only for a short time, because repetition is more important than duration. Now the third step is to attach the habit to something you already do. For example, after brushing your teeth, you practice your habit. This makes it easier to remember. Now let's go deeper. Habits become strong when they are repeated in the same context. Same time, same place, same trigger. This builds automatic behavior. Now let's understand something important. You do not need motivation to continue a habit. Once it becomes part of your routine, it happens naturally. Now let's talk about setbacks. Sometimes you will skip a day. That is normal. But the key is not to stop completely. One missed day is not failure. Stopping entirely is. Now let's go deeper. Each time you complete your habit, your brain gets a small reward. It feels progress. And this feeling encourages repetition. Now let's connect everything. Start small. Repeat daily. Stay consistent. And make it part of your routine. Now here is the key idea. Habits that last forever are not built with force. They are built with simplicity and repetition. Now imagine your future. You follow your habits without struggle. You do them naturally, and they become part of who you are. This is how real change happens. Step by step, every day. Chapter 10. Break the cycle of procrastination. Procrastination is one of the biggest reasons people fail to build good habits. They know what they should do. They understand what is important, but still they delay. They say, "I will do it later," and later becomes never. Now let's understand something important. Procrastination is not laziness. It is a habit of avoiding discomfort. Because your brain prefers easy tasks over difficult ones. Now let's go deeper. Whenever you face a difficult task, your brain looks for relief. It tries to escape the effort. So it shifts your attention to something easier, like scrolling your phone or watching videos. This gives temporary comfort, but it delays progress. Now let's understand something powerful. The more you delay something, the harder it feels, because your mind builds pressure over time. So the task becomes heavier in your imagination. Now let's go deeper. Breaking procrastination starts with understanding this cycle. Trigger, avoidance, temporary relief, and later, stress. This cycle repeats again and again. Now let's talk about how to break it. The first step is starting small. Do not think about finishing everything. Just start, even for a few minutes. Because starting reduces mental resistance. Now the second step is the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you will only do it for 5 minutes. This removes pressure. And once you start, continuing becomes easier. Now the third step is removing distractions. If your phone is nearby, your mind will shift toward it. So you make distractions harder to access. Now let's go deeper. Action creates momentum. Once you start working, your mind becomes more focused, and stopping feels harder than continuing. Now, let's understand something important. Waiting for motivation increases procrastination, but taking action reduces it. Now, let's talk about mindset. You do not need to feel ready. You need to begin. Because readiness often comes after action, not before it. Now, let's go deeper. Procrastination weakens when you build a habit of immediate action. When you stop delaying small tasks, your brain learns speed. Now imagine this. You get a task, and instead of delaying, you start immediately, even if it is small. Over time, this becomes your habit. Now, let's connect everything. Procrastination is a cycle, but you can break it with action. Start small, start quickly, and reduce delay. Now here is the key idea. The faster you start, the less power procrastination has over you. Now imagine your future. You complete tasks without delay. You take action immediately. And you feel in control of your time. This is not luck. This is a habit, built through consistent action, every day. Chapter 11. Build discipline through daily systems. Most people think discipline is something you either have or you don't. They believe disciplined people are naturally strong, and others are not. But this is not true. Discipline is not a personality trait. It is a system, a structure you build into your daily life. Now let's understand something important. If you rely on feelings, your discipline will fail. Because feelings change every day. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel weak. So discipline cannot depend on feelings. Now let's go deeper. A system is something you follow no matter how you feel. It removes decision-making. It gives structure to your day. And it helps you stay consistent. Now, let's understand how systems work. A good system has 3 parts. A clear time, a clear action, and a clear environment. When these 3 things are fixed, discipline becomes easier. Now let's go deeper. For example, if you decide to study English every day at the same time, your brain starts expecting it. It becomes routine. And routines are easier to follow than random decisions. Now, let's talk about action. Your system should not be complicated. If it is too big, you will avoid it. So start with small actions, simple steps that you can repeat daily. Now, let's understand environment. Your surroundings should support your habit. If your environment creates distractions, your system will fail. So you reduce distractions and make the right action easier. Now, let's go deeper. When you follow a system daily, you remove mental effort. You do not ask, should I do it today? You simply do it. This reduces resistance. Now, let's understand something powerful. Discipline is not built in one strong moment. It is built through repeated, simple actions. Now, imagine this. Every day you follow the same routine. Same time, same action, same focus. Slowly, it becomes automatic. Now, let's connect everything. Systems create habits. Habits create discipline, and discipline creates results. Now, here is the key idea. Do not depend on motivation. Build a system that works without it. Now, imagine your future. You follow your routine without struggle. You stay consistent even on hard days. And your life becomes structured and productive. This is how discipline is built. Step by step, through systems, every day. Chapter 12. Replace your identity to change your habits. If you want to change your life, you can not only focus on actions, you also need to focus on identity. Because every habit you have is connected to who you believe you are. Now let's understand something important. You do not only act based on goals, you act based on identity. If you believe, I am not a disciplined person, you will act in a way that proves it. If you believe, I am someone who gives up easily, you will stop quickly. Now let's go deeper. Identity is the story you tell yourself about yourself. It shapes your decisions. It shapes your habits. And it shapes your future. Now let's understand something powerful. If you want to change your habits, you must change your identity first. Not all at once, but step by step. Now let's break it down. There are two types of identity: old identity and new identity. Your old identity is built from past behavior. Your new identity is built from new actions. Now let's go deeper. Every time you take a small positive action, you are proving something to yourself. You are saying, this is who I am becoming. Now let's understand this clearly. You do not change first and then act. You act first and then you change. Action creates identity. Now let's talk about examples. If you read every day, even for a short time, you start seeing yourself as a reader. If you practice English daily, you start seeing yourself as an English learner. If you stay consistent, you start seeing yourself as a disciplined person. Now let's go deeper. This is how transformation happens. Not through big changes, but through repeated proof. Now let's understand something important. Your brain trusts evidence more than words. So just saying, I am disciplined, is not enough. You must act in a disciplined way, even in small steps. Now let's talk about habits again. Habits are not only actions, they are identity signals. Each habit tells your brain who you are. Now imagine this. You skip your habit once. It feels small, but your brain receives a signal. This is not important. Now imagine the opposite. You complete your habit every day. Your brain receives a different signal. This is part of who I am. Now let's go deeper. To change your identity, you must repeat new actions consistently, even if they are small, because repetition builds belief, and belief builds identity. Now let's understand something powerful. You do not need to become a new person overnight. You only need to become a slightly better version of yourself every day. Now let's connect everything. Your identity shapes your habits. Your habits shape your actions. And your actions shape your life. Now here is the key idea. Do not focus only on what you want. Focus on who you want to become, and act like that person daily. Now imagine your future. You see yourself as disciplined. You see yourself as consistent. You see yourself as improving every day. This is not imagination. This is identity change, built through small actions, repeated every day. Chapter 13. How to stay consistent when results are slow. One of the hardest parts of building habits is not starting. It is continuing, especially when you do not see quick results. At the beginning, you feel motivated. You start your new habits with energy. You try to stay focused. But after some time, things feel slow. You do not see big changes. And your mind starts asking questions. Is this working? Should I continue? Now, let's understand something important. Slow progress is normal. In fact, all real change starts slowly. Now let's go deeper. Your brain loves quick rewards. It wants to see results immediately. But habits do not work like that. Habits grow silently, under the surface, before visible change appears. Now let's understand something powerful. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean progress is not happening. Your brain is still learning. Your behavior is still improving. Your system is still building. Now let's go deeper. Many people quit too early. Not because the system is wrong, but because they expect fast results. And when results do not appear quickly, they lose patience. Now let's understand something important. Every big change in life has a delay. You plant a seed today, but you do not see a tree tomorrow. Still, growth is happening underground. Now let's connect this to habits. When you practice daily, your brain is changing. Your skills are improving. Your thinking is becoming stronger. But it takes time for these changes to become visible. Now let's talk about consistency. Consistency means continuing even when results are not clear, even when motivation is low, even when progress feels slow. Now let's go deeper. The people who succeed are not always the most talented. They are the ones who stay longer in the process. They continue when others stop. Now let's understand something powerful. If you keep going during the slow phase, you reach the improvement phase. But if you quit during the slow phase, you never reach it. Now let's talk about mindset. Instead of asking, why is this not working yet? You should ask, what can I improve today? This keeps you focused on action. Now let's go deeper. Small improvements matter, even if they're not visible immediately, because improvement compounds over time. Now imagine this. You practice every day for weeks. Nothing dramatic happens, but you keep going. Then one day, you realize you are better than before. You understand faster. You speak easier. You think clearer. This is how growth works. Now let's connect everything. Slow progress is part of the process. It is not failure. It is preparation. Now here is the key idea. Do not stop just because results are slow. Keep going, because results always come after consistency. Now imagine your future. You continue even when it is hard. You stay patient, and your progress becomes visible over time. This is how real success is built, step by step, day by day. Chapter 14. Build habits that work in real life. Many people build habits that look good on paper. They plan everything perfectly. They create routines. They feel excited at the beginning. But when real life starts, they struggle to continue. Now let's understand something important. A habit is only useful if it works in real life, not in imagination, not in perfect conditions, but in real daily situations. Now let's go deeper. Real life is unpredictable. Some days are busy. Some days are tiring. Some days are stressful. So your habits must be flexible, not fragile. Now let's understand what makes a habit strong. A strong habit is simple. It does not require perfect time. It does not require perfect mood. It works even on difficult days. Now let's go deeper. Many people fail because their habits are too strict. They set long routines. They expect perfection. And when they miss one day, they stop completely. But this is a mistake. Now let's understand something powerful. A good habit does not break when life gets hard. It adjusts. It becomes smaller, but it continues. Now let's talk about the real goal. The goal is not to do everything perfectly. The goal is to never stop completely. Now let's go deeper. Even a small action keeps the habit alive. 5 minutes of practice is better than 0. 1 page of reading is better than nothing. A short walk is better than no movement, because consistency matters more than size. Now let's understand something important. Life will not always support your habits, so your habits must support your life. Now let's talk about flexibility. If you are busy, reduce the habit. If you are tired, make it easier. But do not stop, because stopping breaks momentum. Now let's go deeper. Habits that survive real life are the ones that adapt. They change size, but not direction. Now imagine this. Some days you study for 1 hour. Some days you study for 10 minutes. But you never skip completely. This keeps your progress alive. Now let's connect everything. Strong habits are simple, flexible, and consistent. Now here is the key idea. Do not build habits for perfect days. Build habits for real days. Now imagine your future. You continue even on hard days. You stay consistent in real life. And your habits survive any situation. This is how strong habits are built, step by step, in real life. Chapter 15. The life you build through your habits. Now you have reached the final chapter of this journey. But in reality, this is not the end. It is the beginning of how you live from now on. Because habits are not just something you do, habits become who you are. Now let's understand something important. Your life is not changed by one big moment. It is changed by small actions repeated over time. The things you do every day decide your future. Not your intentions, not your wishes, but your actions. Now let's go deeper. If you look at your life today, it is the result of your past habits. What you repeated became your reality, and what you repeat now will become your future. Now let's understand something powerful. You are always building something, even when you are not thinking about it. Every action is shaping your direction. Now let's talk about control. When you control your habits, you control your life. Because habits control your time, your focus, your energy, and your decisions. Now let's go deeper. There is no perfect moment to change your life. There is only today. And what you do today matters more than what you plan for tomorrow. Now let's understand something important. You do not need a perfect system. You need a working system. Simple actions done consistently. Now let's go deeper. Many people wait for motivation. They wait for the right time. They wait for the right conditions. But the truth is simple. Nothing changes until you act. Now let's connect everything. Habits start small. They grow through repetition. They become automatic. And they shape your identity. And your identity shapes your life. Now let's talk about progress. Progress is not always visible. Sometimes it is slow. Sometimes it is quiet. But it is always happening if you continue. Now imagine this. You continue your habits every day, even when it is hard, even when it is slow, even when you feel tired. Over time, everything changes. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your discipline becomes stronger. Your life becomes better. Now let's understand the final truth. You do not need to change your whole life at once. You only need to change what you do daily, because daily actions create lifetime results. Now here is the key idea. Your habits are building your future right now. Every choice matters. Every action counts. Now imagine your future. You are disciplined. You are consistent. You are in control of your life. Not because of luck, but because of habits, built one day at a time. Thank you for listening to this audiobook. Remember, change does not happen overnight. It happens through small actions repeated daily. If you stay consistent, your habits will shape your life in a powerful way. Keep going, keep improving, and trust the process, because your future is being built by what you do